there folks, and how is it going? And welcome back to another video. We are out in a wonderful, wonderful place, about an hour and a half's drive from where we live, called Vilanova De Millefonties. And it's an absolutely wonderful place for photography. There are countless opportunities here to photograph. Now, the eagle-eyed among you may remember from way back when, I think maybe, oh God, I can't even remember when, 2 years ago, we shot a video from here where I had all these beautiful reflections in this tide pool. And it's a very, very small segment of that video. I talked about, you know, distractions and frames and all that kind of good stuff. And it was actually along this cliff edge where I shot that. And I could never get that view out of my mind. So we are actually back to mainly focus on this wonderful cliff edge that you can see here, hopefully behind me, and then all the way up behind Scenic Spielbergo. And it's wonderful because you've got these beautiful sea stacks. So the idea is I'm just going to head down ever so slightly to one of the outcrops and just try get a bit more of a commanding view of the cliffside. And we have probably around maybe 50 minutes for the sun to set. And ideally I just want, there's no clouds, but that's fine. I just want golden cliffs, sea and sea stacks. So that's the aim of today's video. So let's have a wander and see what magic we can muster. So, looking in the direction that we ultimately came here to photograph, it's quite hazy and the light is very, very harsh. So we might need to use our polarizer, and I'm just going to wait another maybe say 15 minutes or so and wait for the light to come down a little bit more just to soften the scene, because at the moment it's very, very harsh. So I have decided to just basically turn around and look down this way, because out here there's way less haze and also it's much softer. The light is more shining this way from behind me, and it's really, really gorgeous. And ultimately what I'm looking to try and do, I've got my 100 to 400 on, I'm all the way into 100, and I'm trying to capture an image where the waves are coming in, which I can use then as like a nice foreground to break up the foreground and ultimately then lead us into these layers in the background, which are the cliffside and then the far mountains beyond, which looks really, really lovely at the minute. So let's take the shot and see if we can make it work. Welcome friends to the ASMR Photography Studio, and welcome to this beautiful cliffside at sunset. Now, these first couple of images that we are going to go through are a real prime example of why I love the 100 to 400 lens, or any telephoto lens for that matter. And it is simply for that beautiful compression effect that it creates. By bringing the background closer on top of the foreground, it really emphasizes a grander scene and really allows you to play around with different kinds of compositions. I am thrilled with how this first image I was able to capture those waves, albeit at a very nice high shutter speed to freeze that motion, act as a nice leading line, taking us out into those beautiful cliffs. And the second image that you are going to see right now, it was only after I actually took the picture that I realized there was a family down on the beach, and it is the cherry on top for me and this photograph. Again, just emphasizing the scale and the grandeur of this beautiful, beautiful coastline that we have at our disposal here. Really, really happy with how both of these images turned out, and just that golden hue that's on everything is a real classic Algarvian kind of vibe, and I absolutely love it. So there's this actually really beautiful scene of this white building. I think it's a house, and it's nestled so nicely within the confines of the view that I'm looking at through the camera here. And it's a very, well, for me anyway, it's very Portuguese, because it's got that lovely red roof, big stark white paint job on the outside, and then these beautiful golden cliffs that are so kind of synonymous with this part of the world. And it's really lovely. It's just a very simple image and a very simple frame. What I might try and do though is, the chimney is just popping up above the background that it's against, but I don't think I'll be able to get higher to kind of shoot down at it. So, but as it stands right now, it's really lovely, and I'm super delighted that I managed to kind of snipe that one. So we'll see how it turns out, and I'll pop it up on the screen for you now. It was only when I was sniping around with my 100-400 that I actually caught a glimpse of this gorgeous house nestled in this beautiful surrounding. It's so beautiful. And like I mentioned, it's a real classic Algarve kind of vibe, just that white stark building and the beautiful tiles on the roof. And again, just bathed in this absolutely magical golden light, surrounded by all of this wonderful coast. The sand dunes act as such a beautiful funnel for the eye as it leads us towards this house. And again, I had taken a good few pictures of this particular scene, and I was so happy to see that I had actually photographed one of the birds in the frame, and for me it just finishes the whole image. It's so great. I'm so happy that the bird decided to fly into the picture, so cheers, bird. So I have turned around now to look down at the view that we ultimately came here to shoot, and we have probably around 25 minutes or so for the sun to set, and I am just playing around with the polarizer to see if it can help cut through some of that haze and cut through some of that, because it's quite hazy, but it's still beautiful. Geez, wow, don't get me wrong, it's still gorgeous. I might actually then swap to the wide angle lens just to try, because it's all so beautiful and lovely and golden light here, and I might try and, you know, photograph this beautiful crescent moon that's in front of me, and you know, try encapsulate the grandeur of the scene. So it's really gorgeous. Unfortunately, like I said at the start, the tide is against me a bit, because it unfortunately just kind of makes the beach just a bit messy for the shot that I really want. But you know, such is the way of things, and we shall work around it. And like I say, I think by including it and embracing it, we can accentuate some of the beautiful golden light that's on these cliffs, and then ultimately the gorgeous natural sunset light that we all know and love. So let's play around a little bit more and see what we can muster. Now for me, this particular image is just a bit of a, it's a bit of a throwaway image. I wouldn't go too bananas about it, but I just wanted to include it to emphasize the fact that even though you have an idea in your mind about what you want to photograph, and you turn up at a scene and things don't necessarily play out as they tend to do, it's always worthwhile just sticking at it, looking around, because there is always still something to photograph. This is a prime example of that. You've got this wonderful golden light that's just kissing the sides of these rocks, and just these deep shadows, and it's such a wonderful example of just being patient with the landscape and utilizing your time instead of kind of stamping your feet around the place going, it's stupid weather. But so yeah, it's a really worthwhile endeavor just to stick with it, and a good opportunity to experiment in terms of compositional aspects and all sorts of fun things. So don't forget to look around. So I've actually swapped over to my 16-35 and I really like this image. It's beautiful. As I say, we've got this gorgeous crescent moon happening in the frame, and it's really nice. And because I'm shooting at 16mm, it's kind of pushing away the rocks and the exposed shoreline here, so it's kind of pushing it away, and it's not as dominant in the frame as it was with the 100-400 on. So I'm really liking this image. Now the sun is going to go behind some cloud probably in the next couple of minutes, so I better quickly shoot and see if I can capture a couple of these frames. So the last 3 frames that you are going to see now, I'll just put up in succession because they're essentially all taken within a few minutes of each other. It's pretty much just a panoramic, just divided up into 3 sections. Looking straight west from where I was standing at the sun, you got this beautiful outcrop of the cliffside bringing us out into the ocean and ultimately across the sea and into the sun. And then the next image is that view that I ultimately came here to photograph, but albeit at a much wider angle. And again, like I mentioned, that the wider angle really helps to push away all that kind of like messiness. So it just envelops the whole scene a lot nicer. And of course, that beautiful golden light on the coastline itself is just so magic. And for this last particular image, I actually kind of played around with the post-production of this image. You could probably tell there was a bit of a difference. I never really used that split toning, you know, like the color grading thing in Adobe Raw, and I decided to kind of mess around with it just to see what would happen. And I'm not too displeased by the result here. I don't know, I think it gives it a bit of a natural feel, or I don't know. I will let you guys be the judge of that, and I would love to hear your thoughts on how this particular one turned out. But again, the scene itself is just so beautiful. Again, it's just that gorgeous coastline. The coastline here is just pure magic, and I really look forward to sharing it with everybody. So but do let me know what you think of the images. I'd be delighted to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I don't know, I think we may leave it for now because the light's really gone, and we might take a wander. We're going to have some dinner, and then we might take a wander to the reflection pools to see if there's anything happening there. If there is, I will pop up a few pictures for you as well. But for now, folks, if you do like the video, then absolutely do please hit that like button, and if you fancy following along for more adventures like this one, then by all means do hit that subscribe button, because it really does help out. And please do check out my workshop that I have going for this whole region too. But I do have one lined up with pretty much the same kind of vibe for next year. So if you fancy visiting the southwest of Portugal in November of next year, by all means you can head over to the website. I'll leave a link in the description. What other shameless promotion can I give you before I go? Oh, my newsletter. Please do sign up for the newsletter. If you enjoy me rambling at you in text form, who wouldn't want to sign up for something like that? You're most welcome to sign up to the newsletter. But anyways, take it easy, everybody. Cheers.